What's up, fans? How are you all doing? Thank you. Welcome to the Morning Brew, man. It's where we drink coffee because it's early. We drink coffee. We talk about what's going on in sports, and I am going to be joined from fans and from people all around the world. Actually, I'm gonna put this invite in the link for fans. So, fans, if you are watching us, you can click the link in the description now. And if you see that StreamYard link on the bottom, you can call in and you can be a part of the Morning Brew. So let's go ahead and let's actually get into it, man. Yesterday, we had an amazing game. Celtics versus Raptors, game 7. Game 6. They're headed to a game 7. It was absolutely amazing. Double overtime thriller from both teams. I think the Raptors finally were able to figure out the Celtics offensively. I think when you even kind of just look at what the Raptors were doing on defense for the past couple of days, I've heard Pavy say numerous times that Nick Nurse is creating offense. I don't necessarily think he's creating offense or creating defense. I just think he's finally adjusting, making those proper adjustments that they need to make. I think that actually the Toronto Raptors are a team that I think is going to come back and win the series. Everybody was telling me before, kind of as the series, fix my camera. As the series progressed, over the first 2 games, Toronto has it all. The Celtics don't have anything. Toronto has it all. And I'm sorry. The Celtics have it all. Toronto doesn't have anything. And now I think what you see is what happens when you get a team that's full of veterans that actually has an actual defense. I think the Raptors this year and last year still have one of the best defenses in the world. I know Pascal Siakam can be immobilized at times, but that kind of is what that is. Shout out to all the fans out there. If you're watching, drop a comment. All comments will go up on the screen. All super chats will get a major shout out. And as I mentioned before, if you'd like to call into the Morning Brew, there is a link at the very top of the description labeled StreamYard. Click it in and you will be able to call in and talk to me on the Morning Brew so we can talk about whatever. But let's continue with Celtics versus Raptors. Celtics versus Raptors game 7, which I will actually talk about a little bit later with a few of the people that will come on here. I'm actually going to take the Raptors to win game 7. I think that the Raptors are a force, and I think that you never count out the heart of a champion. And I think what we saw was the heart of a champion got counted out numerous amounts of times. And, everybody said that it would be impossible for the Celtics to come back and win 4 games. And I'm sorry, for the Raptors. I don't know why I keep calling the Raptors the Celtics. They said it would be impossible for the Raptors to come back and win 4 games in a row. But, to be honest, who's going to stop a champion, especially one that can confuse you defensively? I think the thing that I've seen a lot from the Celtics is Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are still playing well, but the others aren't playing as well. You're not getting those huge games from Marcus Smart. You're not getting those huge, games that you would need from a Daniel Tice. Even though the fact that a huge game and Daniel Tice being in the same conversation is actually comical within itself. But let's be real. Daniel Tice has played very, very well this season. I also think that the Celtics miss Gordon Hayward because I think that when you go with options like Tatum and Brown, they're cool, but you need a third option, a fourth option that'll be able to pull you through. I think what we saw in game 1 and 2 was Marcus Smart was that third option. He was easily that third option. I think he was out there, making threes. And what did he do? Splash 4 threes in a game. He was scoring. He was playing defense. He was being effective. He was agitating. And now what you see is that, he been kind of getting the clamps put on him. And I think that, we see the exact opposite of, I believe, what the Heat should have done, in the Nuggets series. Shout out to, them. Like, I think that the Clippers, once they got up 2-1, sensed blood in the water, right? Even when it was honestly, I would probably say even when honestly when the Clipper series was 1-1, I was thinking, if Denver wins this game, they might be able to sneak and take this series 7 or 6. I still think they'll take it 6. And then basically, you see what happens. Defense comes out to play, and guys make shots. And if you make shots against a team that is not as offensively gifted as you, which the Nuggets are not as offensively gifted as the Clippers, they are as a unit as gifted as the Clippers, but offensively they aren't as gifted as the Clippers. And I think what you see is you saw the stars come in, you saw the stars come to play and want to take over. And I think for the Celtics and for the Raptors, I'm looking at Kemba Walker. I'm looking at Jason Tatum. I'm looking at Jaylen Brown. You have to show up and you have to play better on a continuous basis for the full game. And also with Jaylen Brown has been playing lights out. I mean, even in game 6, he played lights out. He was making threes. He hit a corner three late in the game that was very, very big. So for those guys, I just think they just have to continuously just attack the basket. Even Kemba Walker, there should be no reason why Serge Ibaka is in a walking boot and the Celtics aren't attacking the Raptors, centers in the paint constantly. And unfortunately, that's just not what you've been seeing, from the Boston Celtics over these past, 3-ish games, 3-4 games. In the first 2 games, I thought they moved the ball well. I thought they hit timely shots. I thought Kemba Walker was a force. I thought Jason Tatum was a force. I thought Jaylen Brown was a force. I thought that Marcus Smart was a force. And I think in the past, 2-3 games, for the Celtics, I think their players have been selective forces. So one night you'll have a Jaylen Brown be a force, and then the next night it'll be a Kemba Walker. But I think that they have to put that together for a full 48 minutes. I'm looking at Kemba Hurley Walker because he's a guy that, if you know me from Hoops and Brews, I've called him Midba numerous times. And the reason why I've called him Midba numerous times is because I believe that the man is mid. And I believe that the man has to do a better job of showing up in big playoff games and in big moments and being able to actually affect the game in ways that will allow the team to win, right? When Kemba Walker was essentially, down there in Charlotte, I saw Dwayne Wade come into his house. I saw Dwayne Wade sit on his table. I saw Dwayne Wade eat his food. I saw Dwayne Wade read the newspaper. I saw Dwayne Wade drink coffee like this. And he was doing that all over Charlotte. So I'm looking for Kemba Walker. You have to be better, bro. Like I'm even thinking about Kemba Walker, right? He was brought on this team to essentially be the third option, right? But by all metrics, Kemba Walker was supposed to be the best player on this team, if I'm not mistaken. But he's not the best player on the team. Kemba Walker is not the best player on the team. I think Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are clearly much better than Kemba Walker. But I don't think that has to be the case, because I actually truly believe that Kemba Walker can be very, very good, especially versus a team that doesn't have the perimeter defenders to be able to keep up with him in terms of speed. Like, Kemba Walker is still a very, very fast player. And although you said Kyle Lowry put him in a box, Kyle Lowry shouldn't have the opportunity to put Kemba Walker in a box. Kemba Walker is fast, he's shifty, he can dribble, he can shoot. I don't understand why it is Kyle Lowry and Kemba Walker are going neck for neck. Glasses Malone and I were having a lot of conversations and things of that sort in regards to this NBA season and to Kemba Walker and to Kyle Lowry, and will Kyle Lowry perform in the playoffs? And I kept saying, Glasses, you gotta chill, bro. Like Kemba's not gonna outperform Kyle Lowry like that. He's like, no, you're gonna see Kemba Walker is gonna outperform Kyle Lowry. He's gonna outplay Kyle Lowry. He's gonna make Kyle Lowry look goofy. And I'm like, I don't necessarily know if that's gonna happen. And I think what you've been seeing in the playoffs is that it's not happening at all. And the only time Kemba has really been able to break free and get loose is when he gets a switch, and then he has a big man on a switch like a Serge Ibaka or like a Marc Gasol, and then he scores. But if we're talking about all around game, full throttle, every game, night in, night out, he's not going full throttle. So Kemba Walker has to be better, because if Kemba Walker's not going to be better, then literally the Celtics are going to lose game 7. And if they lose game 7 for the Celtics, if I'm them, we just honestly retool, come back for next year, and we figure it out next year. I think Gordon Hayward getting hurt was massive for them. I do believe that he is a huge piece for their team. I do believe that he is a piece that they need in order to win a championship. But to get to the conference finals, I mean, who knows, So let's go ahead, move on talking about Celtics game, versus Raptors. I'm sure we'll talk about that a little bit later. But let's go ahead. Let's actually talk tonight. Okay, sorry. He says, do you sign Hayward or Marcus? They don't have to choose between signing Gordon Hayward or Marcus Smart. I believe both of them are on long-term agreements, or at least Gordon Hayward has, I believe, 1 or 2 years left on his agreement. And Marcus Smart, I thought, just signed a 3 or 4 year deal. So none of them need to be re-signed. They just simply need to be there and be healthy. And Gordon Hayward just has to be healthy. And even a sprained ankle, I mean, obviously the sprained ankle isn't a broken foot or anything like that. Still bad. He's back in quarantine, in protocol. So I guess we'll see what happens. But anyways, let's go ahead. Let's move on. Let's talk some NFL week 1, man. I'm not going to lie. I've been seeing constant tweets actually, hold on, wait a minute. He said, y'all said Kimba is better than John Wall. I ain't forgot. I ain't say that shit. Pavy said that. I ain't say, you ain't never in your life heard them words come out of my mouth. Pavy said that. Y'all got to stop putting words in my mouth. Y'all going to stop doing that. Y'all going to stop putting words in my mouth. Pavy said that. Pavy called Kimba Walker a top 25 point guard of all time. And he was tripping. But let's go ahead. Let's talk NFL week 1, man. I am actually not excited about the NFL season. And this year has nothing to do with the blackballing of Colin Kaepernick. What it has to do with is the NFL ain't marketed this season at all. They ain't even no promos. I was walking in Echo Park in Los Angeles yesterday, and I saw some Rams posters on the side. And I'm like, man, football coming back tomorrow, man. Who watching that? So NFL week 1 begins tonight. We have Texans at Chiefs. We'll talk about that in a second. But for this first week of NFL action, we have the Eagles at the Washington football team. We have the Dolphins playing Cam Newton and the Patriots. We have the Packers facing the Vikings, and actually this will be a great game because I think the Vikings will be good this year. And honestly, I think this has to be a rebound season for Aaron Rodgers, or I think it might be over for him. And when I say it might be over for him, I mean he might be throwing footballs in Jacksonville in like a year or 2 years if he doesn't come out and ball this season, especially with Mike McCarthy moving on and them no longer having his services. He no longer has a scapegoat. So I'm going to say that way. The Colts versus at the Jacksonville Jaguars is the next game. Then we have the Bears versus the Lions. I'm really, really hoping that the Bears this year, as a Bears fan, can go out there and can actually go 9-7 or 10-6 and win us the championship, man. I'm sick and tired. I am sick and tired of the mediocrity. It's been 25 years since the Chicago Bears have won a championship. I'm ready, bro. I'm ready. My body, this black father body is ready. Please, let's do it, Chicago Bears. Let's start it off strong. Week 1, Lions versus Bears. Bears, I hope you guys win that. Next up, we got Raiders at Panthers, which is going to be a very interesting game because the Raiders are no longer the Oakland Raiders now. They are now the Las Vegas Raiders. So they will be playing in Vegas this year, as well as playing under the Vegas banner. So we have the Jets at Bills, the Browns versus Ravens, which will be I don't know. I guess that depends. I think Baker Mayfield, Odell Beckham Jr., I think this is their last year of leeway. I think Baker Mayfield got a little bit of leeway last year because he was young, because he was a rookie, because he was a quarterback, and he was allowed to make mistakes. But all of the dancing and the Millie rocking and all of this, thinking you got the sauce and all of that, I don't want to see all of that. I want to see you, Baker Mayfield, go out there, and I want to see you dominate, and I want to see you win games. Last year, too many late picks, too many turnovers, not enough hitting those wide receivers earlier in their routes, which is also a huge reason as to why I think their wide receivers were getting clamped down last year. Even though OBJ still had an OBJ year, it wasn't an OBJ year. Baker Mayfield and Odell Beckham are on their last straws. We know Odell Beckham always has something going on in the news. Hold on, let me pour a little bit more of my coffee. We know that Odell Beckham Jr. always has something going on in the news, and he is a lightning rod in sports. But I think you can only be a lightning rod in sports for as long as you produce. And if you're not going to produce, then you will not be a lightning rod. You will not be anything involved with the NFL. And I think that with Baker Mayfield and Odell Beckham, if they do not step it up this season, and they do not, and if Baker Mayfield does not at least throw 25 touchdowns and has less than 20 interceptions, he's going to get out of here. And if y'all think they're not going to get that man out of here, you better go back and you better ask yourself what happened to Johnny Football. Football. Now, obviously, Baker Mayfield isn't sneaking into casinos with disguises on and masks and hairnets and all that other crap. But I believe that this is Baker and Odell's last year in terms of leeway. I think Baker is just a guy that you have to produce. You can't go out there and throw a bunch of turnovers, a bunch of interceptions. I thought the Browns were going to make the playoffs last year. They didn't. That was extremely disappointing because they did have the talent on the offense and the defensive side of the ball. So, I don't really know what to say, for the Browns other than y'all better go out and you better ball out, because if you don't, OBJ, you are going to be on somebody's roster earning $5 million a year in about 2 years. And Baker Mayfield, you might be out of the league in 3 years. So I think they have to step up and they have to actually go out there, grab the bull by the horns, and they need to take this season and they need to win as many games. If the Browns don't win at least 9 games this year, this season is a failure, and those guys are failures. I'm sorry. So let's move on. Let's actually talk about Seahawks versus Falcons, which I actually think will be a very, very good game. I'm actually very interested to see what Russell, Wilson will look like with the capacity of the crowd being at 25. Percent. Obviously, this is an away game for the Seahawks, but the Seahawks are a team that thrives off of the crowd. They thrive off of the crowd energy, crowd noise. We know that the Seahawks fans in Seattle are listed as being the 12th man. I'm looking at Seahawks at Falcons, and I'm hoping that Russ can pull it through. I think this year will probably be another rough year for the Atlanta Falcons. I don't think that they will win a bunch of games, but if they do, okay. But I actually think the Falcons this year will probably go 7-9 or 8-8, but I guess we'll see. Let's move on. Let's actually talk the Los Angeles Chargers versus the Cincinnati Bengals. This game is honestly a toss-up to me. The Chargers for the past few years have vastly and grossly underachieved. And I think this might finally be the season, now that you shed Phillip Rivers, to finally overachieve for a change. So I actually think the Chargers are going to win this game. I think it'll be a very, very interesting game. Next up, we got the new look Cardinals, on offense at least, versus the San Francisco 49ers. I'm actually going to take the 49ers to win. I think, Mr. Bosa is going to have his way. And I think that the Cardinals this year, not really sure in terms of like what their strong suits are going to be overall. So I think it'll just really depend on their roster and what they can do. Obviously, they made some trades over the summer. They got them a young quarterback. But for the Cardinals, I believe it when I see it, personally. I really will believe it when I see it. And that's just really what that boils down to for them. So let's move on. Let's talk Bucks at Saints. This is actually going to be my not game of the week for the NFL, but it's the must-see game of the week for me. I mean, the Bucks and the Saints, I believe, are going to be doing this all year long in contention for that, division title. So I think that the Bucks this year can actually come out, establish dominance. I think Tom Brady is going to actually look amazing this year. I drafted Tom Brady on my fantasy team, yesterday, and the reason why I drafted Tom Brady on my fantasy team was because I thought and think that Tom Brady is going to have a career year this year from one of his offensive statistical categories. So now, be it passing percentage or QBR or passer rating or completion percentage, or I don't think he's going to set a touchdown record, because what did he throw, like 48-9, 50 touchdowns when they had Randy Moss. But I do think Tom Brady is going to be a modicum of efficiency this year. I think he will enjoy having LaShawn McCoy, Leonard Fournette. He will enjoy having, Mike Evans. He will enjoy having O.J. Howard. I believe that, O.J. Howard, as well as Gronkowski. I think this is the most offensive options Tom Brady has ever had in terms of potency. I know Danny Amendola, Julian Edelman, and Randy Moss were good, but they're not Mike Evans, and Gronk as well. But they're not Mike Evans, Gronk, O.J. Howard, Leonard Fournette, LaShawn McCoy kind of good. So I think that this Bucks team will probably have one of the best offenses in the NFL this year, and I think that they will ground and pound teams when they need to. And I think they will be able to go and spread teams out, 5 out, and dink and dive down the field like Tom Brady always does. So I think it'll be extremely interesting. So let's move on. Cowboys versus Rams. This is a matchup that I'm sure, Miss Ashley Nicole is very excited about. But the Cowboys are going to lose. The Rams are going to win. Jalen Ramsey signed his huge contract extension yesterday. I believe it was 4 years, $105 million, which is the largest deal for any quarterback in sports history. So I actually think that the Rams are going to come out and look to actually establish dominance. They were a team last year that I thought severely underachieved. I thought that they should have done better just overall in terms of everything that they were doing, to be quite honest. I thought that they just vastly underachieved. I thought that the Rams last year were Super Bowl a bust to me. And when you don't make it to the Super Bowl, it's a bust. When you have Aaron Donald, when you have guys like, at least you had TG 400, you have Jalen Ramsey on defense. They had a team that on paper was, to me personally, one of, if not the best team last year, other than the Chiefs. So I was honestly very, very confused as to why they went out and kind of flamed out. I just thought that the Rams would have a better shot at actually winning a Super Bowl last year. And now maybe that might be a Sean McVay thing. I think that's the name of that coach. Hold on. I think it's Sean McVay. LA Rams. Sean McVay is still that coach, right? Yes. So I think it may be a Sean McVay thing or whatever. I'm not going to blame Sean McVay for them losing or whatever it may be. But I will say this. I do really, really, truly believe that the LA Rams this year are championship or bust. And if they don't win a championship this year, I think some of these guys you will see will not be playing in Los Angeles next year. I think that also with them locking a lot of these players and a lot of these, guys up in terms of contracts, it allows them the ability to be able to trade, them. And last year, going 9-7 is not good to me. I'm sorry. It's not good to me. It's just not good. The year before, you win a division, you won a championship, you lost in the Super Bowl, and then literally you come back the next year, you flame out, you're third in the West, you're 9-7. But also, they've said it numerous times about teams with the Super Bowl hangover, right? Every team that gets to the Super Bowl that loses usually will have a Super Bowl hangover. You said, what are my expectations for the Cowboys? Well, I actually have solid expectations for the Cowboys. I think Mike McCarthy... I think what we've seen from Mike McCarthy is at times when he wants to be, he is an offensive genius. We saw what he was able to do with Aaron Rodgers with really a very limited receiving core in Green Bay. I mean, it's not like Aaron Rodgers has played with a full complement of wide receivers his entire career. I mean, Donald Driver, Randall Cobb, Devontae Adams, who else was out there for them? Jimmy Graham at one point, I believe. Like those guys, Jimmy Graham is like, he was good when he was in New Orleans, but all these guys are like whatever. But I do think that with Dak Prescott, with him having Zeke, and with him having the Cowboys defense, which is a decent defense, and their offense is good. They're going to be good on both sides. The thing about the Cowboys is the Cowboys are always going to cowboy. That's what they do. They get close, and you think they're going to win a division, and then they wind up losing the division, and some fluke-ish happens. So until the Cowboys make the playoffs, I don't believe it, and I will believe it when I see it because I think that they're frauds, and I think every single year the Dallas Cowboys always have great expectations, and their fans always say, oh, we're going to get back to the playoffs. We're going to make the playoffs. We got Dak. We got Zeke. You ain't got nothing until you make the playoffs. When you make the playoffs, then you'll have something, and then you can actually brag. But until you make the playoffs, I don't want to hear about the Cowboys. Until Mike McCarthy has won 9 or 10 games, and they clinched, I don't really want to hear from Cowboys fans. You guys just better hope and pray that this season is not a disaster or, like Stephen A. Smith says, an accident waiting to happen. Because I don't agree with Stephen A. Smith on a lot. But the one thing I definitely agree with him with is on that Cowboys Sunday, because Cowboys fans act like they are the Los Angeles Lakers and they are just the Dallas Cowboys. So let's go ahead. Let's move on. Let's talk about some more matchups. We have the Steelers versus the Giants. This season for the New York Giants, to me, should be somewhat of a rebounding season. I don't think that they're going to make the playoffs. I don't think that they will win more than 9 games, but I do believe that this will be a year for the Giants in which they actually begin to make some strides forward. I looked at the New York Giants last year, and they were just awful, to be honest. But obviously, you had to essentially usher Eli Manning out of the door. And then essentially you had to, kind of create the room for your new QB that you draft. What is it? Was it Cooper? No, I'm sorry. It was Daniel Jones, not Cooper Rush. My bad. Excuse me. You have to make room for Daniel Jones. I mean, that's just really what it boils down to. And I think that this team will be a little bit better this year. I mean, obviously they aren't really extremely deep in terms of on the offensive side. I mean, Golden Tate, Darius Slayton. I mean, all right, cool, whatever. Sterling Shepard, all right, cool. I think the good thing that bodes well for them is the fact that they have Saquon Barkley. So I think that if the Giants can catch a hot streak between, Saquon Barkley as well as, catch a hot streak this year between Daniel Jones, they may be able to rip off like 7-8 games, but I don't look for the Giants to be good at all this year. If they are good this year, I think that that'll be a testament to coaching and to the job, that the new QB is done taking over for Eli Manning, because those are some heavy shoes to fill in. That's kind of like, being Andrew Luck and stepping in for Peyton Manning in Indianapolis. Huge, kind of shoulders to bear, or at least shoes to fill in. So I'm looking at the Giants, and I think they'll be decent, but they're not going to win this game. They're going to lose to the Steelers. I think the Steelers actually this year, if Ben Roethlisberger is actually healthy this year, I believe that we will actually see a very, very competitive team from the, from the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't know why I couldn't say Pittsburgh Steelers. But I do think that we will see a very effective team from the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think that this honestly might be Mike Tomlin's last year coaching the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think this might be Ben Roethlisberger's last year playing for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I think guys like Juju Smith-Schuster, this might be his last year playing for the Steelers, because if the Steelers don't make the playoffs, if I'm the Steelers, I'm not sure if they just don't take everything and they don't just blow it up and come back next year and try to, figure it out and make it all better. I am literally looking at you, Ben Roethlisberger, because there is no excuses at all for why the Steelers team on offense shouldn't be at least decent, and his team shouldn't be in and compete in almost every game. So Ben Roethlisberger, yeah, you got injured last year. Yeah, whatever. This ain't last year no more. We're in 2020 now. So I want to see what's going to happen once things actually shake down and it all boils down and we can see what happens. So I think it'll be very interesting. And someone asked, oh, snap. What up, Scott? How you doing, man?
What up, man?
Welcome. I'm here. I'm talking NFL. I just kind of was running through the slate. I got one more game to run through before I run through tonight's game, and that's that's the Titans versus the Denver Broncos. I actually don't know who's going to win this game. Who do you think is going to win that game, Scott?
I'm rolling with the Titans, man. The Broncos, I'm just not really – I don't think they have any quarterback. They got some young guys. And then the defense, man, I think they're really going to miss Von Miller with that surgery he's going to have. He's going to be out for the season. And if you look at Tennessee, their team is rolling. Tennessee made it to the AFC Championship game last year. Actually had a double-digit lead on the Chiefs. Chiefs had to come back. Tannehill got paid. Derrick Henry got paid. I like Mike Vrabel. I like what they're doing over there. And I think they're going to keep rolling. They're actually my pick to win the AFC South this year. So I think they're going to start off with a W.
Okay, and yes, Fan, you're right. There will be 2 extra teams making the NFL playoffs this year. What do you think about that, by the way?
I love it. I'm never going to complain about extra wild card games opening weekend. I think it puts more pressure on the teams for you to get that number 1 seed, because then it used to be top 2 seeds get the first week off. Now it's just number 1 seed. So I think it's going to up the competition even more. And then next year we get that extra game. It'll be 17 games next season. So I think it's good. I'm ready for it.
Yeah. So let's talk Texans versus Chiefs tonight. Obviously, the season is back, but it doesn't really feel like the season is back. It
doesn't.
They haven't really promoted it that much because I feel like they don't want black people on their ass. So they're like, you know what? Maybe we should just keep this off TV until we just start the season, and then they'll be like, oh, you started already. We can't boycott the game. But what do you think about tonight's matchup? What do you think about the NFL returning? What do you think about everything that's going on with the NFL right now?
Well, I think the NFL, I kind of have the same feeling I had before the MLB season, before the NBA season, where I kind of was like, I'm not really feeling it. Both of them, I was just not feeling it all. But when the actual game started, I was locked in. I was locked into the bubble playoffs the first weekend. MLB, I've been locked in mainly because my team is doing so well. But just shout
out to the White Sox, by the way.
Yeah, shout out to them.
And actually, this is the Morning Brew. So a little bit later, I want you to talk about what's going on in the MLB season because I
Okay.
have no idea. Because honestly, with basketball, baseball, football about to be on, the WNBA on, and I got to cover the Clippers, and I got to work a real job, and we got to do this HNB Media stuff. I
You
have
got
no
a whole bunch
time.
of stuff going on.
I'm only watching NBA basketball and football until further notice.
I can definitely let you know what's going on with that. But
all right, cool.
with the NFL, man, I feel like when the actual game starts, that everybody's gonna be hooked again. It's gonna be the same thing it was with the NBA, and especially because the NFL, everybody calls MLB America's pastime. I think that's old. I think the NFL is America's pastime.
Yeah.
And so everybody's gonna get hooked right in. I think the crowd thing is gonna be weird at first. But I think the NBA did a really, really good job presentation wise to where I almost forget there's no crowd in some of these games. MLB for the regular season, it's been cool. I think the playoffs, you're gonna really see the lack of crowd where it's going to hit. But NFL, I think it's going to be good. I'm with you where they haven't really been promoting it that much because of, the NFL. Roger Goodell doesn't read the room like at all. I honestly, I don't think he cares to read the room, to be completely honest. I mean, even today with the halftime show, they got that little kid, the I'm a Young Black Man dude. He's performing. I'm like,
no.
Right, yeah, dead ass. He's performing.
No.
Yeah.
I don't want to see that.
that
man in the middle of the field to me, I'm a young black man doing all that I don't want to see that.
Yeah, he's performing. I would definitely be turning to whatever game is on during halftime.
I'm sorry. Weren't you one of the people that defended Jay-Z when he signed his NFL deal?
Yes, I was.
What are your thoughts now?
I was wrong.
Okay,
I was wrong.
Thank you. As long as y'all were, as long as everybody out there that was the truth is it was y'all just want to talk bad about Jay. Go ahead. Go ahead.
But I will say this. I still do think that I think a lot of people got mad at Jay for we're kneeling now. What's next? While I do agree with that quote, Jay hasn't really.
He ain't gave us what's next.
What's next? You in the room with Goodell. What's next? So he hasn't really followed up on that quote himself.
No, know what's next? I'm a young black man.
social justice Rock Nation t-shirts.
Yeah, exactly. And Meek Mill perform at the Super Bowl halftime. That's what we need to stop police brutality.
I've been on an apology tour all year on my podcast this year. I apologize to a lot of people. I apologize to Chris Paul. But
he deserved it though.
Yeah, I apologize to a lot of people. So I definitely will add that to my apology too. I was wrong about Hov and Roger Goodell. But overall, man, I think within a week or two, people gonna forget. People not gonna care. People love football so much that it's just gonna be on to, regular things. And honestly, with the NFL, unlike the NBA and MLB, I don't think they're gonna go a full year without fans. There's already some teams that are going to be having fans.
Yeah. So Ashley mentioned that last night. We got a fan that asked, so do you believe that with no crowd that it'll help the defense more?
For sure.
Okay.
For sure. That's a good point. The defense is gonna be able to lock in. They ain't gotta worry about crowds or nothing like that. But I also think it's gonna help with the offense too, because they're gonna be able to pay attention a little bit more. It's gonna be kind of like how in the bubble you got certain players that just hoop better when there's no crowd around. It might help a Mitchell Trubisky, you know what I'm saying, that he ain't got nobody booing him, telling him he sucks, to zone in a little bit. But if your defense,
I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. When I found out Mitch was starting, I'm like, what was the point of any of the offseason?
No, this is the whole thing on the Mitch thing. I've been saying, it's collusion. It has nothing to do with.
Say it is collusion.
It's collusion. It has nothing to do with who throws the football better. Nothing. There's no way you have eyes and look and think that he can throw the football better than Nick Foles. The only thing Mitch has in his favor over Foles is he has more of he knows what receivers are in their right spots. Now, he's going to overthrow them in them spots, but he knows what spots they go to. And since there was no OTAs, since there was no full training camp, and since there wasn't no preseason, Nick Foles didn't have that. But he's going to be on a very extreme short leash. I think it's going to be game by game. And also, if you're Matt Nagy, it's easier to go from Trubisky to Foles. Instead of having Foles start and he messes up, then you got to go to Trubisky. You can't sell that to the fan base.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like you can, right? No?
I mean, me personally,
I'm just asking. I'm not arguing against you. I'm just asking you a question. I feel like if you started Nick Foles, we've been literally saying get Mitch off the field. Right. So if you start Nick Foles and Nick sucks, we ain't gonna have no other option but to put Mitch in. So versus starting Mitch and then you got to go to Nick, it's gonna be like, bruh. I understand they don't want to give up on their pick,
right?
Because he was a big pick. They drafted him over a lot of guys that they could have drafted him over.
Yeah.
So I understand it, but come on, man.
I agree with you. I'm not very high on the Bears, though. Like I said on our podcast, we got the preview pod dropping tomorrow. We got Thomas Jones on there. We had a good conversation with him.
Congrats on that, by the way. Very, very huge move for you all. He's not your first Bears player, is he?
Yeah, well, no, we had Jared Payton. Jared actually played a year with the Bears, so Jared will probably be first.
Jared. I forgot. What's wild is I forgot Jared actually played in the NFL because his radio career.
Jared got so many hats, man.
Yeah,
like
literally.
you know.
I forgot he played in the NFL because of his career. His other careers have done so well. So
he was also a part of the best college football team of all time. He was on the 01 Canes. Yes.
Oh wow.
He was on the 01. He has a lot of stories about that 01 Cane that he can't tell on the podcast that are very legendary.
Oh my God. I can only imagine the amount of cocaine and horse.
I did like the story about how they had to let the Miami Heat in the club in 01, which was quite hilarious. But
who was playing on the Heat in 01?
Zoe. Was Tim Hardaway there? I think Hardaway was there. That's about it. And they were washed in 01. I think Zoe sat the whole season out.
That is funny as hell. Funny as hell.
But with the Bears, man, I got 9-7. And it's not really because the division is going to go down to week 17. Mm-hmm. This is not a division that any team is going to run away with. Kirk Cousins, aka COVID Kirk, is what I'm calling him for the rest of the year. He is not anything to run home about. That defense has gotten much better. They made a good trade with Jacksonville, and Aaron Rodgers, man, like Russell Westbrook like to say, Pat Bell trick y'all. Aaron trick y'all, man. He been thrown out of bounds for 2-3 years. And
actually, Scott, I was talked about that earlier. I said that I believe that this is Aaron Rodgers. I said it about a few guys. I think that this is Aaron Rodgers last year before he either get traded or it's over for him.
Oh yeah, this is last year's a Packer. I
think it's OBJ's last year. Period. If he don't come out and ball this year, he's gonna get traded or he gonna be somewhere making $5 million a year. And I think Baker Mayfield, he just got here, but it might be over for him fast. And I think those guys are on the hot seat this year. Personally, go ahead.
That's a good point. I think Baker and Aaron Rodgers is gone even if he balls out this year because I think he's fed up with the Packers management. I don't think he liked the fact that they drafted Jordan Love. You know what I'm saying, that high in the draft, especially when they just went to the NFC Championship game. Now they went to the NFC Championship game mainly because their run game more than Rodgers himself, but he didn't like that. And I personally, this views what Favre did to Rodgers by keep constantly coming back is what Rodgers is trying to do to Jordan Love. And I don't think the Packers management is going to let Rodgers run the house like Favre did. So that's going to be something to look forward to. And you bring up Baker Mayfield, there's a lot of pressure on Baker. We're going to see what Baker is made of. Is he as good as he was number one pick?
Or is he just sober Manziel?
Right. Or is he sober Johnny Football? We going to see for sure. And Odell, man, he's always just – I think Odell gets a bad rap, but Odell's never really done anything bad. Odell just is emotional. Like Odell goes out there and balls. He's just emotional. But I do think if it doesn't mix in Cleveland, that he could be traded too. Because what's the point of keeping him there if ain't nobody hooping?
Yeah, well, what is the point of keeping him there? And look, I understand Odell always love to say if I actually did something bad, then it would be a reason. But but you gotta hoop. G, you gotta hoop like
you gotta play ball. Man.
I saw in the Cam Newton interview, he's like, "Well, I didn't have 1,000 yards in every season, not in every healthy season I didn't have." I looked at it, I was like, "You have, but that don't mean you hooped."
Right?
That's like Bradley Beal being like, "I averaged 30." It don't matter.
1,000 yards is not hard for a wide receiver to get.
Especially when you're the only one that they throw into.
Right? Exactly. But
because he can't find nobody else. Because every time he tried to, he throw an interception.
Yeah. Yeah, but if you talk about pressure, I think there's a lot of pressure on Matt Nagy too because when Nick Foles comes, because Nick Foles is gonna come whether Mitch either sucks or he gets hurt. We're gonna really see, does Nagy have good plays or does he just have a bad quarterback? So we're gonna find out about them. But I don't know. I got really excited for the Bears last year, and they let me down. So they got to earn me this year. I'm staying at 9-7. And the defense is going to be phenomenal, but I don't think
I
that's a
said
shock.
9-7 too early. I believe I
Yeah,
said 9-7.
9-7. I can see if they overachieve, they could get into 10-11. If they overachieve, but I think defense is going to be phenomenal as usual. I think Khalil Mack is going to win Defensive Player of the Year. I think he's going to have a bounce back year.
Really? Okay.
Last year he had only 8 sacks, but that's because Akeem Hicks missed like 9-10 games.
Yeah. So
He was
you know
out
how
there
your
by
guy,
himself.
Hold on, Hakeem Nicks is the end, right? He's not a tackle.
He's a defensive tackle. Yeah, defensive tackle.
Oh, he a DT. Okay.
Yeah, and they got Robert Quinn this year, so
Oh yeah. Okay, they're gonna be decent.
That's a big boost. We got the nice rookie Jalen Johnson. He's gonna be on the side with Kyle Fuller. He won the rookie. He won the second cornerback spot in camp. You got Deshaun Gibson, who's gonna be in the backfield with Eddie Jackson. They both have combined 20 interceptions over the last 2 seasons. So it's gonna be hard to throw on them. Of course, you got a great linebacker core, Danny Trevathan and Roquan Smith. So the defense is gonna be great. The offense just has to put up 20 to 22 points a game, and I think they can win games. But
can they do that though?
Can they do that? It's a lot of questions. Not just the
like
quarterback.
dead ass. Can they do that?
It's not just the quarterback. The running back room is questionable. The offensive line is questionable. So the Bears can't do nothing but impress me this year because I have no type of expectation. But I do think they'll make the playoffs because of the extra playoff spot.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So who do you have coming out of the NFC Central?
You mean North?
North. My bad.
The North. I got the Vikings winning.
I forgot it's North.
Yeah, I don't even know why they do that. It should have stayed the Central, but I got the Vikings winning the North. I just think they're probably the most complete team. I don't have any faith in Kirk Cousins, but he actually proved something in the playoffs last year by going to New Orleans, getting the win. So maybe he rides off that momentum. I just think they have the least question marks out of the big three in the North. The Lions don't matter. The Lions are a good 2 wins for everybody in that division. So I'm gonna go with them.
Okay, that's interesting. In terms of the Bears on if they are to have a playoff season, who do you think will be their MVP if they do have a playoff level season?
It has to be the quarterback. It's either Mitch or Foles. They got to be able to do
it. So you think that this entire season boils down to the offensive side of the ball more than defense?
For sure. The defense was top 3 last year, and we had half the defense was on IR.
Yeah.
We were beat up last year, and they were still top 3. So at full strength, nobody's really scoring on them. Can Mitch do it? And if Mitch can't do it, can Foles be consistent enough to do it? I think this is Mitch's make or break year. Mitch knows that either he balls out this year or he's gonna be in the XFL. It's nobody's gonna sign him.
The Rock gonna be his new boss.
Right. He gonna be working for Spencer Strasmore. It's put up or shut up time for Mitch. And we hear all the players say, he looks so much better. We got to see it. And if he goes out there Sunday and kills, I'm not going to look at anything from that because he always kills the Lions. Yeah, there's one team that Mr. Trubisky bodies. He bodies the Lions. Now, let's see in these upcoming games what he does. And contrary to probably believe, I don't hate Mitch. I don't hate Mitch at all. He looks like he's a good kid. I hate Ryan Pace.
You don't hate Mitch. Don't get me wrong. You hated the draft pick when they picked him.
I don't.
And then after they picked him, you talked yourself into it. You gave him a fair shot. He's just been trash. I can admit it. You gave him a fair shot.
I gave him
because I remember when they drafted him, you cut a promo.
I was so upset. I walked from La Cienega all the way down to Pico, bro. And if anybody lives in Los Angeles know how long that walk is. And I was so angry. But I'm not mad at Mitch. I'm mad at Ryan Pace. He's the general manager. He gets paid to evaluate talent. He's the one who had 2 private workouts with Patrick Mahomes, 2 dinners with Patrick Mahomes, and said, if Mitch isn't there, we'll get him. So my problem is with him. My problem is also the fact that you got all these players getting extensions, and Allen Robinson hasn't gotten an extension yet. If there's anybody on offense who stepped up and balled, it has been Allen Robinson. He's like, well, we don't know what the salary cap is going to look like in 2021. That didn't stop the Rams from paying Jalen Ramsey. That didn't stop all these other extensions been thrown out this offseason. Yeah, but Scott,
you forget those organizations are winning organizations.
The Rams ain't.
I mean, yes, but hell, they didn't been to the Super Bowl since we have.
Okay, yeah, that's
like I don't understand what be going on through the Bears GM's mind sometimes. Like, how do you miss out on Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson in the same draft, and you wind up literally with the worst quarterback from that draft?
But I would be mad about missing out on Jamal Adams too if we didn't get Eddie Jackson. If we didn't get Eddie Jackson, I'd have been hot about that too. But it's put up a shut up time for this Bears team, and
we do a great job drafting everything but quarterbacks.
That is it. And I say it's put up a shut up time because Khalil Mack's guaranteed money kicks in this offseason. So, and you just made Eddie Jackson the highest paid safety in the league. So you better win something before that cap hit.
Yep, I agree. So let's go ahead. Let's talk about let's talk about Tom Brady. I really want to talk about Brady the GOAT. I've been saying it. I think Tom Brady is going to have one of the most efficient years in his career. I don't think this will be the best year of his career because obviously what he did when they went 16-1 or whatever it was, 16-0 in regular season, and he had Randy Moss and he threw 49, 50 touchdowns that year.
He threw 52.
52, yeah. I don't think he's going to match that obviously because he's not as young. And I just think that kind of they caught lightning in the bottle. But I do foresee Tom Brady having like a 35 touchdown, 12 interception year on with like 66 or 70% completion percentage. And I told Ashley last night and Chris on when I did my fantasy draft show, I legit think that they're gonna have a two-headed monster in the backfield, but I don't think LaShawn is gonna be the guy that I'm gonna be looking for a ton to run. I think LaShawn is gonna play that kind of slot receiver that they love putting in the backfield. That is either a running back or a slot receiver, and he's just gonna get so many dink and dunk passes and just get him in the open field and let him do what he does. And I think that's gonna be very, very dangerous because we've seen what Tom Brady has done with any kind of running back that has any kind of hands. And LaShawn McCoy is one of the best catching running backs ever. You know what I mean? And when he's in the open field, he's very, very good. He just ain't been himself. But honestly, you playing with Tyrod Taylor in Buffalo and you in Buffalo, what are you getting out of Buffalo? Nothing.
Right, exactly.
Now, if he was playing on the Patriots, we wouldn't be having no conversations about LaShawn McCoy. But I think with Leonard Fournette out there, I think they're gonna have a two-headed monster. And I think if they want to ground and pound teams, or if they just want to put it in the air and let it fly, it's gonna be very interesting. What do you think? How do you think Brady's gonna fare with the Bucs?
I think Brady is going to be dominant this year. Like you said, he's gonna be very efficient. I can see 35 touchdowns, and for the first time in a couple years, he's got weapons, man. Like there's so many dudes in New England hurt over the last 2 years.
Yeah,
like Gronk wasn't there.
Yeah.
Josh Gordon was in and out of the lineup. Mm-hmm. Mohamed Sanu was not as good as advertised. Wes Welker was suspended and hurt. This year, he's got Gronk is back. Yep. You mentioned the two-headed backfield. Yep. Leonard Fournette is going to be the best running back he's had since Corey Dillon in 2004. And just look at the receivers.
Yeah,
you got Howard, Mike Evans, O.J. Howard, Chris Godwin, and Bruce Arians is an offensive mind. Yeah. And I think they're going to go crazy out there. That division is tough. The Saints are always in it. But to me, Brady, and Brady wants to prove he can do it without Belichick. I think that's something huge. And even for New England, Belichick want to prove he can do it without Brady.
Don't get me wrong. Belichick's not going to win a championship without Brady. But for Belichick, there's nothing to prove, bro. We saw you take Matt Castle and win. How many games was it?
It was 11.
11 games with Matt Castle. Yeah. Like I think this will be the best season of Cam Newton's career. If Cam Newton is an MVP candidate, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah,
I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Cam Newton's an MVP candidate or Tom Brady's an MVP candidate.
The biggest issue for the Patriots isn't going to be the offense. It's going to be they got like 6 players on defense who sat out because of COVID.
Yeah.
So that's going to be their biggest issue right there. But offensively, but even on the defense, man, it's Bill Belichick. He's a defensive mastermind.
Yeah,
He'll find some dude from Nevada that we never heard of who's going to get like 5 picks. You know what I'm saying? Like, and the Patriots got the number 2 defense again.
And then he gonna get maxed out and never do anything.
Exactly. So, but I'm expecting a lot from Brady this year, man. I think he has a strong chance to get number 7. So it's gonna be interesting to watch.
I think he does too, especially with the lack of crowd. I think like for Brady, playing on the road already was nothing to him. Yeah. And now you mean to tell me it's gonna be 25% of the people there, so my whole team can hit a whole snap. So we can hit a whole snap. You mean to tell me like my whole heart count, the whole team can hit? All right, cool, it's lit. So
Brady had a lot of impressive on the road drives, but to me, his most impressive was 2 years ago when there was Arrowhead Stadium against the Chiefs, and he was like, it was like dicing them up. Yeah. Like you knew they were gonna score.
Yeah.
From the minute that drive started, and it was just like the crowd was loud, and he was just like, whatever.
Yeah.
First down. and he was just doing it. So like you said, with no crowd, that's gonna be like light work for Brady.
Light work. So I look for Tom to have like I said, I'd look for Tom to have a great season. Tom is one of those guys that I say is like LeBron. As long as his body is healthy, he can play for as long as he wants to because the skill and the mind is there.
And that's a good comparison.
Versus like Mike, because Mike was hurt and injured, took all that time out. His body wasn't there after 35. Honestly, after 33, really.
After 33, yeah.
After 33, Mike's body was really gone. Bron's body is just starting to get a little bad at 36. So if he can stay healthy, he'll be like Brady. They can play forever.
Yeah, that's a good comparison because Brian and Brady have insane workout regimens. Like Brady be out here eating avocado ice cream, bro. Like he did the little TB12 method.
I'm crying.
That he got. Like they both were in insane shape to the point they can play as long as they. Mike was out here like even if you watch Last Dance,
smoking cigars and drinking beers before finals games.
Before practice, he's like, yeah, man, I got a couple brews in, got a couple cigars in. Like, dude, it's 10 a.m. Like, what are you doing? So like he didn't care about that stuff, but Brady and LeBron are just like they're freakish athletes. Like people don't understand. Brady's gonna be 43 this year. Like
crazy.
He looks as good as he looked 20 years ago.
Yeah,
it's insane.
Yeah, it is insane. So let's go ahead. Last topic of the show before we get ready to get out of here. I want to talk about Lakers versus Rockets. I picked the Rockets to win in 6. So Lakers fans, obviously, they had my neck. And don't get me wrong, I've been picking against the Lakers all year, so I'm not gonna stop. I'm sorry. Like Lakers fans, you can be mad at me, but if I say y'all gonna lose, I'm just gonna stick with that all year long. I'm not gonna change my pick. I said that the Lakers would not make the finals. I'm still sticking with that. So I'm
sticking with that too. I'm still on the Clippers.
I'm still sticking with that. And honestly, I don't think this Houston series is over. I think it just
I don't either.
I think it just depends on Tweet God and it depends on small game James. And I'm not talking about LeBron James. James Harden, G. This man literally be putting up like 25, 27 before the fourth quarter. Hit a couple threes in garbage time, and then people be like, "Well, he had 30." I don't want to hear that, G. The man averaged 35 in the regular season. He had 33 in the last game. That's 2 points below his average. He got to do better. And if he gonna play passive, if he gonna let Anthony Davis, how can Anthony Davis stick with James Harden, G?
You can't.
How come James ain't? He spent the whole past 2 years doing this, dribbling and shaking and putting people in blenders. Now all of a sudden you play the Lakers, you just want to stand out there and let KCP guard you and let Alex Caruso guard you and let Rajon Rondo punk you. So if the Rockets go out tonight and get punked, they're going to lose in 5. But if they go out and win tonight, I'm still taking them in 6. I know 3 games in a row is a lot, but the Rockets are a team that if they get hot, they get hot. And this thing with Daniel House and all these rumors that are going on, they miss him, bro. Daniel, like literally, when I be playing on 2K,
with a good playoff.
Gee, when I play with Daniel House on 2K and he's and I go to the bench, there's nobody to put at point guard. I put Austin Rivers, but obviously he started messing up. Get him out of here. Daniel House can dribble, he can defend, he can hit open shots, and he likes to talk ish. If he's not out there on the floor, which I think he's been there starting small forward essentially all year long. Come on, man.
And Daniel House got to be smarter, man. He just is stupid, bro.
I don't know. What did he do, though? Because I'm seeing some rumors about a female reporter, and then I'm seeing...
they wild for bringing... I don't want to bring her name up.
I'm not going to bring her name
in. They wild for involving her, but allegedly he brought in one of the testers.
Brought in one of the testers?
One of the COVID testers.
He brought them in where?
To his hotel room. He was sleeping with her.
What's wrong with that? She getting tested.
I guess it was something against protocol. I don't know what it is. Now they're talking about maybe suspending him for the series, and he was married. So it's like, dude, you messed up your season and possibly your marriage. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you was LeBron or somebody, you can get away with that. But you Daniel House, bro. You can't get away with that, dog.
Gee, a COVID tester?
A COVID tester, bro.
Floor, G.
I saw that on Twitter this morning. I was down.
I'm on the floor, bro. What?
Yeah, but with this series, though, man, I said it on the pod yesterday, and I just feel like the biggest difference here is that the Rockets are stupid. Yeah. Like, this could be a 7-game series, and they could actually win the series if they weren't stupid. Like, the biggest, it was a close game in game 3 until playoff Rondo, like I've been saying for years, is a real thing. When playoff Rondo dropped like 14 in the fourth quarter, it was a wrap because I think Russ and Harden had pretty good games. But what was their third scorer? You need Eric Gordon to be as good as he was in game 1. They're not getting nothing from the bench. I think the bench scored them out, outscored the Rockets 44-12 or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, they got to get better. I don't think the series is over. If they find a way to win tonight, this could probably go 7.
Yeah. I think tonight is their game 7.
Yeah.
Or at least because I think if you win tonight, all the pressure goes back on to the Lakers, because I think the Lakers made so many adjustments in game 2 and game 3.
Yeah.
The Rockets is like, oh snap, we ain't ready for this. But the thing about what about Mike D'Antoni? Teams do they always do? They get outmaneuvered in the playoffs because he can't make adjustments.
I think D'Antoni is more to blame than Harden. Like, D'Antoni is just. I mean, he's good to get your team to playoffs. He's good to score, but what else he doing outside of that, bro? He getting out coached by Frank Vogel, and I don't even think Frank Vogel is that great of a coach.
Wow, he's not. That's crazy. This man really got in trouble for that. Him and Tyson Chandler were ruled out of game 3 for quote unquote personal reasons.
Tyson Chandler, 20 years in the league. Tyson Chandler really been in the league 20 years, and that's funny because I remember the day he got drafted. We traded Elton Brand for him.
Yeah, and I was like, what are you doing?
You know what's funny? In retrospect, he had a better career.
He had a way better career than Elton Brand. Way longer. Defensive Player of the Year, won a ring. Still respected amongst everybody, and as a guy that low-key was a baller in high school, he really did have a better career than Elton Brand. He had a better career,
but I just remember they tried to sell me. They was like, he's the new and improved Kevin Garnett. I will never forget that scouting report on draft day, and I was just like, okay, whatever, man.
Yeah, I agree. But anyways, fans, thank you all for tuning in to today's episode of the Morning Brew. Definitely appreciate it. Actually, let's do real quick. I want to know who do you think is going to win MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, and Rookie of the Year in the NFL?
MVP, Russell Wilson. Defensive Player of the Year, Khalil Mack. Rookie of the Year.
No draft. I mean, no preseason. So
I'm gonna go with my man, Joe Burrow.
All right, I'm not
my
mad
man
at that.
Burrow.
I wouldn't be shocked because he just got a certain swagger to him. Where I think he just don't care.
And they got weapons in Cincinnati, so it's gonna be fun to watch.
Yeah, we'll see. But anyways, thank you all for tuning into the Morning Brew. This has been your boy TPJ. Thank you, Scott, for joining. Please talk to the people. Let them know where they can find you at.
You can find me on Twitter at BarbChairScott. You can follow the Barbers Chair Network on Instagram and Twitter at BarberChair. BarberChairNet. We have Patreon. Shout out to all our Patreon subscribers, man. The numbers are getting higher and higher every month. We've got a lot of exclusive content. We got a betting show that will be on there, hosted by my man Pierce. So for all you gamblers, sports gamblers, check that out. It's patreon.com/Barbershare Network. We got the $5 package, which is just, extra summer sessions episodes. And if you pay $10, you get Barbershare All Access. So check that out. We've got a new episode of our inaugural NFL podcast called 2 Minute Drill. It's up right now. We are joined by the homie Chops of Complex Sports, Load Management Podcast. Check that out. We got new 79th and Hallis dropping tomorrow, new Summer Sessions dropping tomorrow, and new Ball Don't Lie will drop today, as we will be talking about everything NBA. So, yeah, man, that's where you can check everything out.
All righty, Scott. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate it, and I will get up with you next time on the Morning Brew.
Yes, sir.
All righty. All right, fans, thank you all for tuning in to this episode of the Morning Brew. As always, it's been your boy TPJ. I appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see what happens tonight on all the matchups. Until next time, peace out.